I will close your heaven for the hell of it. Welcome to City Wales. Yeah, look at that. We're a podcast. We're 51 now. We are a mental health podcast. We discuss things that could be on the sensitive side. This podcast, that being said, is for everyone, and it might not be for you for that very reason. We're not there to chase you down, are we, Joe?
No.
No?
Well,
no. Yeah, no.
Not for that reason.
Yeah. Like, it depends on which team you support and all that stuff, man. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, so that's it. We normally have segments like mental health this week, but this week we don't have the mental health for mental health this week. Yeah, sure. As we are redeveloping that segment of the show. So this is pretty much a journal-only episode. And then it dawned on me that I have nothing really worth sharing, in my personal opinion. So maybe something will come up for me. I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, the things I put down are listlessness and other junk.
We are truly philosophers of our time.
We were discussing this before the podcast about if we need to go into it now. Is that all good?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So yeah, we were talking before about right, so I brought this up myself, and then you agreed with me that you were feeling it, and there's a few other people did. That there is just a real feeling of sort of listlessness and not quite sure about what's going on and what we're supposed to be doing or whatever. So it's been a bit weird recently. I've not had a great couple of weeks. I am trying to do things. I'm trying to make progress in my life, and there is progress being made. It's just not happening as quickly or in the capacity to which I would love it to. Also, I just think like when you get into these spaces, you just become really bad at evaluating your own yourself. Like, there's a few things that in my mind come up, right? I think this is a thing I've always struggled with, but I think can be I forget the word now. Relatable. There you go. Relatable to many, many people. Which is that when you kind of enter into these like weird spirals, one of the big things that gets lost is like prioritization. Like your ability to determine that one thing is more important than another. Like being aware of this thing, working to improve like your career in this area, feeding yourself properly or looking after yourself, enjoying yourself, having fun, like. And I think in those spaces, you just fall on whatever is the easiest for you, which in my case, unfortunately, as I've discussed many, many times in the past, is an addiction. So that's not like, that's, part of the frustration, right? Like the easiest thing for me to do in that scenario is that. And so that's like that's the primary like practical like part of it that I think immediately takes over your life. Like those moments where you stop like doing things on the basis of like you think it's the best thing to do, and it becomes I'm doing this because it's the easiest thing for me to do that I can stomach doing right now, like because everything seems equally as relevant. And I mean, I could go into this it's like it's a form of apathy, right? And then you could take that apathy into lots of different areas if you wanted to, all over the place, political and otherwise. Social apathy, etc., of this just feeling of like not being able to relate anymore, not being able to like feel that you can have not being able to feel like you can have impact over, and all of a sudden you're just kind of like, well, I'm just going to go through whatever feels right in the moment, and that's it. Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that technically. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing what feels right for you. It's just in a very complicated world, which has always been complicated, but in a world that we're kind of aware is complicated now, when you're in these spaces, it's like, okay, how do I and where do I go from here? Like, what's the plan? like
Yeah.
like you just have to ignore everything that you want to, that you really don't want to ignore. That's like the primary practical element, I think, that immediately hits in, and then there's obviously the abstract feeling of listlessness and all of that nonsense.
Yeah. It's also the feeling of figuring out like where you fit in certain things as well.
Mm.
Like, do I belong in this situation I'm in now? Do I belong with these people? Do I belong in this organization? Do I belong in this setup? Am I good enough for this? And then while you're, for me, mostly it's overthinking. Right? While you're overthinking this,
Mm.
the true reason why you're there is passing you by. So then
Yeah.
you end up playing catch up to a lot of things, and then you end up struggling to like cement yourself anywhere, and then you feel very transient. You feel like people around you are transient, and then you feel like nothing really matters because the people around you are transient and you're transient. And then you're like, when's the next destination? Well, when am I going to arrive at a stop? But then you don't want to be at a stop. You're scared if you stop, then you just decay. And it's like, I want to keep moving, but I'm also moving in a straight line and nothing's happening. But everything's happening. But I'm not a part of anything. And it's like, there's so many different things that are worrying and concerning to the point where they all become meaningless, and you end up, well, there's a massive fire. You have all the equipment to fight the fire, and you just go, can't be arts, mate. You know?
I think it's, yeah, there's an alienation, right? And I think there's something of like life loses a lot of its luster. Like things that that should feel good or should stand out to you no longer do. They just sort of become part of the background. Like I like the way that you talked about it being like everything becomes transient. Like everything becomes like it's sort of just moving in a direction with no direct, like everything is moving but with no direction, right? Like everything is just happening, but there's no seeming reason as to why any of it's happening, even though clearly it is. And if you ask me cognitively, like, okay, well, why is this happening or why is this happening, I could give you an answer, or I could try to give you an answer. But in the moment where you're having to make decisions, you can see the speed that everything's traveling at, but not where it's going. Or you can see or I guess I'm going into quantum physics now, referencing that. Or you can be like, oh, I know the direction it's going, but I don't know how fast it's going. So I have no way to assess personally, like whether I should be, moving like quickly to intercept it, or whether I know I have time before it gets there. And so you're constantly like trying to intercept something well before you need to, or trying to or not thinking that something is that important, and in fact it passes you by and you're like, oh shit, I completely missed that opportunity, or whatever it is. And it's not like, I'm talking about this in the abstract because it is an abstraction. It's not a specific thing, it's a multitude of things, and then this is sort of like the emergent abstract thing coming out of it, like that sense of being lost. And I always find, I don't know about you, but this is entirely how my brain has functioned for most of my life, and I recognize that it's because of a lack of like fundamentally having like a sort of pace, like a pace of health, I guess you could say, or like a pace of goodness in the way that my brain kind of operates in some way. Again, I'm not quite sure how to describe it, so that's just the language I'm going to use. Where the moments where I'm like, I'm going to do something about this. Okay, I'm going to take this moment. I'm going to do something, and I always expect like an action I take or something I do is gonna like completely switch it up and change me and make me feel good again. And something I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get into this, and it's like there's the feeling that like an explosive shift off of even the most menial things, like, oh, I need to do that in order to like regain something. Like I've fallen off the bandwagon, all I need to do is just jump back on, right? Like and then I'm on the path again, and it's all good. But in reality, that doesn't tend to work. I've seen this in a few different media now that I think about it. The desire for like a kind of, a bit like in a film, like the sudden event or the thing that someone does that wins the other person over, like these sorts of these characters of ideas, right? like something that occurs. I'm thinking of BoJack Horseman a lot when I talk about some of this, because that's the lens through which they're looking at like some of the issues that the main character has. This idea of this idea that like you need a like it will all be fine if you just have a grand gesture of something, and then everything will be fine. And I say that to myself, like a grand gesture to myself will suddenly change who I am. That suddenly I can be free of the so-called like prison that I find myself in, even if it's purely within my own like psyche. Last week we were talking. We talked a lot about trying to avoid doom, and I don't know if that was something of a that was like maybe in the background of my mind, something I was experiencing, and I was like, going like, and I was almost trying to remind myself like, don't fall into that spiral or something like that. But it's interesting because I when I listened to that, I was like, I liked what I said there. That was good. And it did ground me a little bit. It gave me a little bit of perspective. It did pull me out of like a really bad period suddenly, of just being like, no, it's like there are things to love. There's things to care about. There's all these things that you're missing out of, not out of life because you don't have them, but you're missing out of life because you're not aware of it or you can't see it, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, we were talking about this like earlier, because to peel the lens back for people listening, we're trying to figure out how to best approach mental health this week. And I was making the point to Joe that everything's really close to us at the moment. And I stole this from Bill Burr. He did a really good set on SNL a couple of years back, and I always show people this set. I'm actually going to show my friend this set later on today. And he talks about not knowing it's Pride Month. And he realizes, oh, wait, everything's right up in front of his face. And then the camera just zoomed away from him. And he realized, oh, wait, look at that. Like, guys in tank tops, two men holding hands, rainbow flags everywhere. Of course it's Pride Month. And he discusses that, like, that feeling of, like, it's right in front of you. You just need to take a step back and see all of it. And it's like that's the feeling I get a lot as well, where I'm like, nothing's going right. I'm going to miss this train because this fucking cunt walk up the stairs slowly, and like people just don't know what they're doing. And then you finally sit down on the train and you're on the Northern Line, and it's like, but you're on the train though, right? Like, you're on the train and you're happy you're on the train. Do you want to be on the train? No. But you're happy that you've committed the action of actually getting onto the train. Like, you're happy that you're going to a destination that you're going to enjoy when you get there, And it's like, yeah, so, sorry, this is going to be a really awkward cut because there's an interruption here. Yeah, like, you see life for what it is, and you take stock of everything that's around you, and then you go, oh, look at, like, there's some good things out here, like, oh, look at that. Like, hey, I know what that bird is called now. That's nice, And then the little things that you hate end up becoming the little things that you love, and then it goes on in a weird circle. And then, you kind of just end up going through the cycles of like listlessness, and then it links with loneliness, and it links into anxiety. It all comes from the same like thing I've noticed. And when these cycles start, listlessness is one of the things that it's always there, but then it kind of rises to the top. So yeah, with mental health this week, for example, like this is a good topic, really. But it's more of a, hey, look, we both want to make this segment really good. We just don't really know what we're looking at. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I just to add as well, like I remember having to describe to my mum and my auntie what this was back when I was at university. I can't remember at what point in uni. And I remember trying to describe the experience that exists, like the sort of the internal feeling in my head of what it felt like. This was back when my anxiety was much, much worse. It was, it was less subtle, basically. and it was much less so. And my like depression was incredibly high at the time. And this is before autism diagnosis as well. And I was trying to explain to them what it felt like in like experientially, like internally, what that was like. And the best way I could describe it was it felt like there was a fog in like the front, like it felt like there was something in the front of my head that was somehow blocking my ability to like perceive what was in front of me. Like there was something about the and there is, I think, I could start talking about it, but I won't. But I think there is something that linked to actual brain activity and things like that, where this happens in your brain. That it felt like in the front of my head, I could feel this sensation that was not letting me see past. It was like a translucent fog. Like there was like I could literally see what was going on, but somehow none of it entered my brain and imagination correctly, because there was always this like fundamental little object right in front of my head, in my head there, that just kind of like sealed my ability to like actively take in what was happening around me. And then on top of that, like that sort of feeling of perspective where it's very narrow and it's very centered in on yourself. Like you like felt like you were walking along the street and you had cameras all around you, all facing you, and the feed that you were getting was from the cameras looking at you, but you also had a feed of like your own visual. So there's like this weird thing of the experience, that kind of sensory experience that you're getting, and then a kind of like internal experience that's happening that is completely unlike it, and has no, in many ways has no, actually is not really related, right? Like, yes, I was suddenly, I'm very aware of what I'm doing, how I'm acting, and everything going on with me. I was very much aware of, I say aware of in a very like sort of quotes way, because you're perceiving something, you're not really aware of it, to be more like specific and more accurate, I think. You're not really aware of yourself. You're just very much like perceiving, you're observing yourself all the time. And so you just never feel like you're outside of this state of being that you're in. And you can't see how the state of being that you are reflects or interacts with the world around you whatsoever. You stop being able to think like, oh, I could, like, this person, like, who is this person? What is this nice thing? And I've always found, and this is going to be not problematic, but it definitely leads me down a path of like of like, this makes me feel that feeling of like ignorance is bliss kind of problem, which I don't like the fundamental conclusion of that, but I understand what it's saying, because I actually think that in reality there is a lot of ignorance that comes from being so like pushed towards yourself, like you're not actually understanding of things around you, and that's actually what's causing you the problems. But the moments in which I feel the best, so to speak, are the moments in which I'm not thinking at all, right? The moments in which there is no narration going on in my head. Not everyone has like the voice in their head or images in their head and so on. But those moments where I don't have that at all, and I'm just interacting with someone or doing whatever, those are the moments where I forget myself effectively, are the moments in which I feel most connected, which is to say that I don't feel like the place that my brain is situated around and aware of or perceiving entirely is this little knot inside myself that it can never be unraveled purely by just, again, not introspection, I'll be clear, like, because introspection I think is different. This harsh seizing of this of whatever is inside and what's happening. That's only like, this is all abstract explanation. In reality, I don't think that that's what's happening. I think it's more complicated / simple, depending on how you look at things. But I won't go into that, because I don't think it's I don't think I've got the mental capacity right now to explain what I actually think is happening. Like, in terms of what the brain is doing, how the mind works, and ultimately we don't know how the brain works. Like consciousness is very confusing. So that would be like my personal feeling, but I'm not trying to make like scientific or even philosophical claims right now. Like that's a bit over my head, and certainly I couldn't even say my own feelings, let alone actually cite, like explaining it in a larger ecosystem of thought and so on. So yeah, it's a weird episode for sure. Like but it's a very true episode, and you know, I don't know how else to describe it. I have a lot of stuff coming up that will, I think, actually give me a lot of, well, maybe I shouldn't speak too soon. I feel like it will connect me with some things that I haven't had connection with in a while, and I think in doing so will potentially help me kind of set myself a bit into shape, like, or set my, you know, set the motion into, you know, but we'll see. Ultimately, I can't really comment on that just yet. You have some stuff coming up. I don't know if you want to talk about it, but maybe next week would be the best time to talk about it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just like in general. Like, are we now in the other junk part of the episode?
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, like you know, it just we've been looking at I've been, I think it links to listless as well. Like I've been struggling to get into my routine with fitness and things like that as well. And it's like making progress on every front possible, and it's like it's I'm finding it very difficult at the moment because it's very frustrating. Like very little things, like little things have not been going as they planned, and those little things have built up, and then all of a sudden nothing's going to plan, nothing's going right. It's like um, I've been struggling with a lot of like feedback overload, unsolicited feedback overload. Like it's very difficult to, like, for example, I'm playing football a lot now, and approaching the football season. I'll be looking to play outfield for the first time in my like footballing career. I say footballing career because like I did play at a high level when I was up until I was 16ish. So then now I'm playing Sunday league level, and I want to play outfield because I'm a football coach. I want to get better at playing outfield and being comfortable with a ball at my feet, as opposed to being a goalkeeper. Uh, all I've been hearing is people say, "But you should play in goal, though." And it came to a head when I again, very like unlike me, I went, "Shut the fuck up!" So a guy who just said it, because he says it every single time. He's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa," and then he did the whole calm down, calm down. It's like, no. Every week you say this. I see you every week. You say this. Like, you know, if I was a god awful player, sure, but you can't be a good goalkeeper and a ridiculously awful, incompetent outfield player. That doesn't work both ways. You might not be as well rounded and well crafted and well talented as the people who have played outfield for their life, but like if I've just scored a goal and after the game you come up to me and go, "Oh, but you should be a goalkeeper." Shut up. Shut up. Like it's just this idea of, hey, I know what you want to do, but I don't like it, so I'm going to keep telling you that I don't like it. It's like, are you asking to? Because I feel like I'm being ridiculously calm and tranquil in how I've dealt with. Because that happens a lot with me. A lot of people want to tell me what they think I should be doing. I'm very tranquil with it, and I think something switched since I've turned 28. That's what I'm gonna say. That's a catalyst event there, okay? Where I've just been like, hey, uh, anybody else would have punched you in the mouth for it. So now I'm going to punch you in the mouth for it. It's like because like it's just so weird. It's just so weird because there's a lot of confidence that people get in telling people what I think you should do is, I don't care what you think I should do. How about that? Jesus Christ, mate! Like, you know, and it's the most annoying thing. Like, because I'll be like, hey, my long passing is really good, but it's right now it's like 8 out of 10. How do I get the curve in it to make it 10 out of 10? Well, you should play in goal. What the absolute, what? Like, it's the thing I hate the absolute most. If you're asking for advice on something, tell me how to do the thing I've asked you for advice on, not tell me to do something else. What's the point? Like, there's no, like, it's like telling someone, oh, I want to get this tattoo on this part of my body. Don't get that tattoo. How about that? What? Like, shut up. like, 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 don't tell me not to get that tattoo because you don't like the design to look good. Is there anything wrong with the design, like, from a design standpoint, or is it you just don't like it? Oh, I just don't think you should get it. Shut the fuck up, man. like, like, just help me with what I'm asking you to help me with. It's like, I love asking for help, but as I've gotten older, it's becoming more and more of a struggle because it's just like, hey, I really want to write. Like, I asked for like an idea I want to start writing about masculinity more. And I mentioned it briefly to like another poet, and they were just like, masculinity is such a shit subject to write about, just don't bother. Shut the, one, how is masculinity a shit subject? That's a whole thing in itself. But two, I didn't ask you for your opinion on the subject. I asked you for help and material in getting inspiration from it. How? Be useful.
Yeah, it's also a broad statement. Like you just said one word, which means which means a lot of things depending on who you're talking to and how you're talking about it. And the person just said, it's just a shit subject. It's a bit
useful.
Yeah, it's also like why would it matter to them? It's like you're the one writing about it. Clearly it's in some way important to you. Like the first thing I would ask if I just didn't know what you meant, or like I had an idea in my head and I didn't like that idea about what you meant, I would be like, in what way? Like that's the first thing I would ask. Like, in what way do you want to write about this? I'd want to know what you meant by it. Like maybe that's not universal. Like I suppose it isn't. That like if I hear something that someone says and it's rubbed me the wrong way, that the first thing I try and do is clarify their position on whatever it is they're talking about. Because in my mind, I've thought, this person's reasonable. I think they can't possibly be this thing that in my head that I'm imagining. I can't possibly imagine that that's what they're thinking about. Or if I meet even a random stranger, it's like, I'm just going to assume that you're a nice person, or I'm going to assume that you're decent in some way. Maybe that's going a step too far. I don't know. But this is my assumption. So I come to the table thinking, okay, so clearly I'm in it wrong about something, or I don't understand what you just communicated. So please explain to me what you just said. Like that's my first port of call. So even if I can imagine, like, because this is what I'm doing at the moment, like right now, I'm imagining that they've just heard this and gone, oh, masculinity, and then they think you're going to go down one avenue of it. Then it's like, what is like. Why isn't there that interest in trying to understand what you're saying or what you mean or whatever? That just seems a bit it seems very, very short-sighted is entirely the wrong word. It just seems very uncompassionate towards you.
It's just because I also see it a lot, and I see it because whenever I work with women, the first thing they talk about is how they get unsolicited feedback in doing anything, like be it female coaches, be it female fighters, be it female anything, okay? Like, it's mansplaining, right? But it's like, and it must be so annoying for them. Whenever I hear those stories, I'm like, oh my, girl, we are so alike. Oh my God. But like, the reality of it all is this. If, with my like overall temperament, which is really bad in a good way, in that I struggle to get angry at people, and I struggle to express that anger. Like, if I was actually a woman, I would kill somebody. like, like, I don't. Jesus Christ, do our sisters put up with a lot? Okay, and I just hear the stories and I hear the things. Like, and for people who are very accomplished in their field, it's like whenever I go up to somebody and they happen to be like female presenting or woman, and I ask them for like their advice on something, they tend to be shocked that I'm asking for help. It's like, what? Oh, you're expecting me to come and tell you how to do your job. No, I'm incompetent. You need to help me. Like, and it's just, I just hate it. It's just like, be useful. And if you can't be useful, guess what? You are very useful. By saying that you don't know something, or by saying that you can't offer help, that is the most useful thing you can do. But giving your opinion and saying, oh, that's just shit, who's that helping?
Yeah.
It's just anyway, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
I'm starting to see the last few weeks how like this culminating in what we've just talked about, and like everything that we're talking about now today. I realize these are things that we've been thinking about quite a bit or have been bothering us. Like that listlessness, the feeling of like unsolicited advice or like poor commentary from people, like from others, without it, in a not only a useless way but in an actively harmful way. And yeah, it just
This I hate the most.
It's rubbish.
What you need to do is no, I don't need to do, shut up, because you also don't want to look like you don't want to like. If you turn it down, then you look like you're not willing to receive feedback, and that is like, for some reason, that's like a whole big thing where, oh, you have to be willing to learn. But yeah, I'm willing to learn, just not from you.
Yeah, I received critique very recently from a friend, and I had no problem with the critique. In fact, I agreed with them on the critique. It wasn't particularly like low. It was relative. I wouldn't say it's harsh, sorry, but it wasn't like pulling like a ton of punches or whatever. It was like very upfront and everything like that. And I was like, okay, like because it was set in a way which it was said in a way I think that was actually well done. If I had felt that it wasn't, I would have replied, because we have that relationship. I would have been able to say, I don't agree with you on this point, but I did. And so I went, yeah, that's fine. But it came across in a much more like, in a way that felt compassionate to my cause. Like, they are on my side. They're trying to help me. They are they're looking to make things better for me. And on top of that, they even admitted where they were doing things effectively for themselves, like selfishly. Like, they admitted where, oh, if this happens for you, then that's a good thing for me too. Like that, even just that, like expressing that that truth was a wonderful thing to hear, because I can't blame them for that. Like, who's going to blame them for the fact that they're saying, yeah, actually it would be nice, because for me that would be a good thing as well. Like, at least they expressed that. There was no like dancing around trying to make it seem, one way, while on the flip side of things thinking like, having some ulterior motive about the whole thing. It felt very clear, but it also felt very caring. Do you know what I mean? Like that, the sense to lay out for you exactly what's going on without any confusion. That was perfect, and that's all it needed to do. And it gave me a thought of like, okay, yeah, this is something that I do need to work on. I do need to think about these things. This is important to me. It's important to you. It's important to me. Like, we both see the same thing. Great. And it felt good almost to be, to have that reflected, right? Like, even the own things I was thinking about reflected in another person. And it was like, yeah, this is good. This is a good discussion now. Like, if you hadn't told me this, I would have kept going, thinking that everything that was going on in my head was just me. Do you know what I mean? Like, that everything that was going on in my head was something that, yeah, that may be true, but it's not really like, I who knows what the real problem is, right? And it's like, no, there are some things that need to be sort of sorted out one way or another. And like, hey, let's talk about it. Let's talk about life for a second. Again, grounding stuff, right? Things that ground you. So, like, if that poet had tried to figure out what you were talking about, or even if they just said like, I think that's a fine subject, I don't think other people find it as interesting to listen to. Like, I think the biggest problem you're going to have is audience, for example. Let's say that's what they were, that's like what they were trying to say, or that's what they might have thought. Let's just say that was the case. A perfectly valid description of what they meant, and is they're trying to give you a proper critique of what you've just said, like a proper like explanation of why they might think one way or the other. But I think in large part, some people also just don't know why they believe certain things, right? Like, if I was just going to give the full credit to things, which is not actual credit, it's just describing people's ignorance. But I think a lot of people do things like just not recognizing why the fuck they do things, and that's bad in its own right, but it's a different kind of bad. I don't know. Maybe not actually. maybe the reality is that it's not actually, and the truth is that you have to like kind of knock this into people's heads, like wake the fuck up and think about what you're saying, not because oh it's hurt me or whatever. It's because no, you just don't know why you said what you said. You have no idea. You don't have the concept in your head about why you went into this direction and this vein. Anyway.
Yeah, like I as I said, like, I'm irascible. I'm very prone to outbursts. Okay, and this show has now just been a collection, a treasure trove of these outbursts here. And it's like, life could be so much better if people just admitted to being stupid about certain things. Everyone has to. I think the best quality a human being can have right now is the ability to go, I don't know enough about this. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's me. That is that. Are we happy to move on to recommendation station?
Yeah, let's finish this off.
So train is arriving. Choo choo! Recommendation station. Yeah, Joe, kick us off.
Yeah, it's a huge event, so it doesn't really need that much hyping up or anything like that. I like fighting games, and I've been a fighting game fan for a long time, so I'm always excited for Evo, which is it would be correct, I think, to say that it's the biggest fighting game tournament of like annual tournament, of the year, like every year. But I think that it's better to call it's less. It's not as good to say it's the biggest one. It's better to say it's the most like prideful one. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not about like the money as such. Like Evo, it has like so historically been this I think Evo just stands for evolution. I believe that's all it is. But it's so historically been the most prized thing. Like it's such a big thing, and it's not about the winnings as such. It's about winning, right? Like it actually, like getting high up in Evo is a badge of honor, and goes back to the old FGC fighting game fighting game communities, like history of their relationship to fighting games, and this is all before esports got really big, for example, and things like that. So yeah, it's a big event, August 1st to August 3rd. It's one of those things which you really cannot really pay attention to and yet find a wealth of content about, like after the fact and during. It's it's fun. It's like football but much more niche, and you can kind of engage in it on your own, and no one's really gonna like ask you and no one's really gonna natter your ear off about it. Not to dig into football people at all. I'm just saying like it doesn't have the same cultural thing. So like even though it's a huge thing in a culture, the culture is more spread out, so it's less, it's less and it's smaller, so it's less like I'm not hearing it everywhere, and it's not like super important constantly all the time, and it's not like it invades everything. So yeah, it's fun. I could recommend a bunch of people, but I'm not going to recommend like a bunch of people to watch. Just if you're interested in this, or if you've been even slightly interested in fighting games before, look into it. On August 1st to 3rd, just as a reminder, that's when the event's going to happen.
Yeah, fight and stuff. Oh, Sagat is coming out in Street Fighter. We saw the reveal trailer for that. I'll put that in the description of the episode as well, if I remember.
Yeah, he's going to be playable at Evo. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the people say about him. He looks fucking amazing. He looks so cool.
Yeah. My recommendation is Clips. Let God Sort 'Em Out. It came out last week. The album was apparently leaked early, and there were lots of like review bots saying that it was really moody, it wasn't that good. And then the actual album came out, and I'm telling you right now, it is a contender for album of the year already. It is start to finish, all good songs, and the work that Pharrell Williams has done on this as well should be heralded. It is, I wouldn't even call it return to form, as I don't think Pusha T or Malice have ever had a dip in form. But Clips is the duo brothers, Pusha T and Malice, as aforementioned, and they have just dropped this album, and it starts really emotional song, The Birds Don't Sing, featuring John Legend. It is a great song. And it discusses both of their parents passing away last year, within 4 months of each other. And the opening line of this podcast, I'll Close Your Heaven for the Hell of It, is from Chains and Whips, which is another one of the big songs, and has Ace Trumpets, which I would say is their lead title as well. But every single song has something that you could pick out and go, that is great. And it's just start to finish, good album, enjoy it, play it, enjoy the difference of beats, enjoy the lyricism, enjoy there's a journey as well. It's not like a storytelling album, but there's a journey through the album where you get to understand a bit. It gives you a lot of context in between, like the lyricism. There's lots of things you can just pick up and learn, about their state of mind, how they wrote this, and how they came about this. And also listen to all the interviews that they've done. They've had a really good album rollout, and I think it's just really good to highlight all that stuff and to give you guys an album to listen to, eh? But yeah, that's that.
Yeah. Cool.
With that being said, it is now time for us to say goodbye as we take 2 steps to the rear and get out of here. We're in the wind.
You're in the wind.
See ya.